each one this is gonna be 4K video. Okay, meaning you'll be able to share this forever. One of the things I take pride in with my company is it's not about the cost, it's about creating a legacy for you and your family. Right? Because so many things now we don't get the opportunity to experience because it's faded. Somebody tell me what their great-grandma said to them. Exactly. Remember verbatim what your grandma said to you.
Love life.
That's it. Now just imagine if they can archive, get your Bible that you create like we're doing right now, and hear you in real live resolution, verbatim on what you're saying. Okay. Imagine what your third generation is going to say about you. They're going to know exactly what you said. Not my mom or my grandmama used to say or told me. Because one thing I learned is that my mom probably adjusted what her mother said to her to control me more. So I didn't get the real what grandma said. I got the controlling message of what my mom intended it to be so she can control my little butt. Come on now. Right? We do that today. We adjust messaging to fit our situation. Right? Okay. That's what I'm talking about. So, but what I do at TWIG publishing, I make sure your exact message gets out, either in video, audio, or publication. That's what I do. So they got me here for a specific reason, because you are high quality, dedicated folks, and you deserve the best. And that's what I'm giving you, the best. Okay? So now with that, is everybody from Delta in here, or is it other airlines that you experienced? You worked for Delta all your life?
Still there.
Coca-Cola.
Okay.
I'm a Deltoid's wife.
Okay. So you got an imposter in here. Come on, why would you do that to us? I'm an imposter too, right? Because I never worked for Delta. Okay.
So we need good people.
Oh, yeah. You trying to beat me to death too. Wow. Okay, we're gonna go around the room. So, when did you start working for Delta? And what was your first job?
Well, I started working for Delta in 1981, June 1981.
Okay.
And of course, Ms. Penny and I were in the same training class.
Oh, wow.
And we started in-flight service.
Okay.
As a flight attendant.
In-flight service. That means
flight attendant.
Buckle your seat now. I'm not going to keep walking past you, and you still got it unbuckled, and you know better.
Exactly.
Okay. And you, ma'am?
Well,
Hold up. First, tell us your name. You didn't say that, right?
Right.
So everybody needs to do that. Make sure you tell us your name as well.
Well, my name, I'm Rosetta Germany Hall now. Because when I started, I was Rosetta Germany. Now I'm Dash Hall.
Okay, cool.
I moved to Atlanta, working at the World's Fair, then I started working for Eastern Airlines. But I met Miss Rosetta. I worked for Georgia Bell in some emergency. She had a car accident, and she told me about Delta, and then it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Lynn Wimbush was here, the vice president of Delta. His wife and I became friends, and she said, "You look like me." Started from there.
So give us your name though.
Gerald.
Gerald, okay. It starts from there. You, sir?
I'm Elvis Gurley, started Delta in 1977 in cabin service cleaning plane. I moved up to loading bags and human remains and all that kind of good stuff. Went from there to working at gate at the old terminal. And from there I took a job for the ticket counter, the gates, passenger service, agent, red coat, all that kind of stuff. So,
Oh wow, you're a red coat as well.
Red coat is
What?
That's why I don't want another job where I have to say, may I help you?
You're on the inside, you're like, may I chop him?
That's enough of it. But I retired in 03.
Okay. Man, 21 years, retired. Love it.
Every minute of it.
Okay. Right before we go to you, right? keep thriving. Okay? That's what we do. Ma'am. Now, are you wearing red because... Okay, I won't do it. All right.
My name is Jennifer Gurley. I'm married to Elbert Gurley. I have been retired 5 years now. I work for Coca-Cola Enterprises as a technical instructor, training on their different programs to create Coca-Cola.
Okay.
The syrup, the bread, everything to make Diet Coke or regular Coke. Travel the world. And one thing I remember you mentioned about us remembering things that our parents told us. I remember my grandmother used to say all the time, something ain't clean in the milk. And it took me a long time to understand what that meant. And through different life experiences and everything, I learned that you have to look at everything.
Right.
Make sure you understand what's going on. Because everything that's in the milk is not.
Yeah, don't just jump in.
Don't just jump in.
All right, that's important.
Pay attention.
And some of the stuff that I do in my books and my talks and stuff, I talk about titles. Inherit titles or given titles. Right? So a lot of inherit titles, we give benefit of the doubt and we'll sacrifice for that inherit title because it's a cousin, a brother, when they don't operate or deserve their title. Because you're supposed to operate in your own title. Someone should have to operate in it for you. That's important. Everything is not, look at the milk. Even though it's white milk or chocolate milk or strawberry, what's in it? What is it made of? And we shouldn't have to add ingredients to make it taste good. Right? So, is your go, man? Oh, that was cool, right? You like that?
I love that.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Jerry Gambrell, and I have 42 years with Delta Airlines, or I guess I should say I retired with 42 years in 2020 during the COVID pandemic.
Okay.
And of course, I did start out in accounting, reservation, city ticket office, customer care, and several different positions there. And since I retired in 2020, I did return as a contract worker, just to say that Delta is an airline that, that treats their employees right.
Okay.
And I would like for my grandkids to remember me by knowing that just strive for whatever you want. Nothing is beyond what you can achieve. And it's just been a great experience for me. And my daughter works for Delta.
Is she forced?
She wants to.
Hey, you will do that. Okay, you'll go, man.
Okay, I'm Darlene Key, and I started with Delta in 1978. I did start out in reservations as Jerry and myself. We rotated city ticket office, small meeting, did group booking. Then I did, eventually I am a returning flight attendant because I did fly before and I came back. And then because my kids were young, and then I went back to in-flight. So I did fly about 15 years. I ended up with 30 years. But life was good at that time. I retired about 10 years now. And yes, I am loving it. And as Grandma said, love life. And I'm living my best life.
So I have this question for you. So now somebody said that if you retire, you go back and time starts again or something?
Well, no, what happens is I got that credit when I was flying, but I didn't get the credit from when I started Delta.
Okay.
I lost all of that, but the few years that I did fly, I did get that credit.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, but when I did retire from Delta, do you all remember Pinnacle?
Yes.
I flew with Pinnacle for a couple of years, but when they closed Atlanta base, I had to transfer and commute, and I wasn't going to do that.
Did you get any credit for that?
I don't know.
That was voluntary. It was voluntary commitment.
Yes.
And you, man?
Hi, I'm Penny Eppinger Foster, really Penelope. Penny is good. I too started in 1981, along with Rosetta. I had just completed my bachelor's degree at Morris Brown. Always wanted to be a teacher all my life, played school every day. And the day that I graduated, the day after I graduated, I started with Delta Airlines.
Wow.
And I said, I'm only going to do this for a year. And this is 44 years, and I'm still here.
Time flies.
And it's been a great experience, and it still is. Everything in Delta basically is about seniority. And I did get one really good experience, right? We probably flew maybe about 4 months, and then we had the PATCO strike. I don't know if you guys remember that, right? The air traffic control strike out. And they assigned the entire class to different departments at Delta.
Wow.
And we pulled numbers out of a hat to get our seniority. And there were exactly 99 people in our class, all right?
Right.
I thought I pulled 66, but it was 99.
Oh.
So they ran out of positions, and they created a position for myself in marketing downtown. And I was in marketing for about 6 or 7 months, almost a year. And it was a great experience. And then I came back to flying, and still flying. So it's great. And living life to the fullest. And one thing that I do realize about this job is that it's really taught you a lot about people in general, different cultures, just the whole 9 yards of what really life is about. You see someone in the airplane, you have no idea what they may be going through or whatever. And it's been a very humbling experience, and it still is.
That's perfect. And one of the things that's important is power in silence. And in your jobs, you have to observe a lot before you open your mouth.
Oh yeah.
Because like she just said, that package you might think it's like that because what you've been taught, learned, or seen before, experienced, but boy, once you interact, it was nothing like you thought it would be.
But can I say something here?
Yes.
I do realize as being retired, when I do fly, and Jerry, you probably do this too. Everybody probably does that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't stop. I have to get in the habit of not closing the overhead bins. Yes, exactly. Or watching the flight attendants and they talking too fast, you can't understand. Like, God, I wish she'd slow down. I don't understand that. She's like, it's almost like a critiquer. I'm like, no, Joe, you have to stop that.
Well, it's inside of you. No, go ahead. No, this is freestyle, okay? I would just say don't talk over anybody. Allow them to, but have fun. Okay, you got something?
No, I was just going to say, I guess I didn't really elaborate or understand the question initially. And when I started with Delta Airlines, of course, like I said, with Penny as well in 1981, but I graduated from college with a degree in nursing, and I was an RN. And the hospital I worked at, one of my surgeons talked me into going with Delta because several friends had advised me. And he was like, no, that's what you need to do. And I was like, really? So I did. And of course, like Penny said, when the controllers went on strike and we had to either take a position or take a furlough, I opted to take a furlough. Because in Delta, but they called us back and I was able to go back. But I went back to my nursing position because at the hospital where I work, my director told me, you can come back anytime and continue from where you left off. So I actually had a position that was open, I went back to working. And I worked there for a few months, and then when Delta called us back, I gladly went back.
Yeah.
Well, that's and I was a flight attendant as well. But I did escalate through my career. I only flew for a few years, and then I later was an in-flight supervisor, flight attendant. Then from there, a manager. And then
she was your?
She was
a good one.
We went to her. We had trouble. We went to her.
Especially out there. Because, like I said, walk a mile in my shoes. I could understand what they were going through, so therefore I took extra time as far as making sure everything was handled properly with them. So of course, like Penny was saying, I did often have a line in my door as far as coming to my office. And then I later made core team manager, and when I left as director in flight as far as in Atlanta.
Director.
And then I retired early.
That's a big name.
Yes, but I retired, and when I retired in 2006, well, Delta called me back, and like Jerry was saying, I went on a contract. And for another 6 years, I continued to work at Delta on the contract. Okay. So I actually officially left in 2012 instead of 2006.
Oh, okay.
So I put in another 6 years as for different positions, and a lot of times they would say work on your own time, your own schedule. And the last couple of years, they actually allowed me to work from home. And I was like, oh, I can work from home, but y'all.
Make sure the cameras take off.
And that was an awesome career.
Okay.
I remember when you first got hired, you said Delta called you and you said, let me think about it.
Oh.
Well, that's good. That's because you had a backup plan.
Yeah, I had a backup plan and I was already working. And so when they called and offered me the job after the interview, I interviewed like on Monday. On Wednesday, they called and offered me the job. And I said, oh, can I think about it? And the lady said, no. We turn out 500 applicants a day and we need to know. And she said, the class starts on Monday. And this was like that week. And I said, okay, fine, well, put me down and if I can show up. She was like, excuse me. So then I had to go to my manager where I was working because I hadn't had time to give her the 2 week notice, you know. But what she said was, yes, do it. And she said, I will hold your position for 90 days. And she said, and if you decide that's not what you want, you can come back where you are. So that was an awesome blessing for me as well.
Yes.
You know, I had 2 jobs. But even when we went on strike with the controllers as far as the furlough, I still was able to go back almost 6 to 8 months later.
Oh, wow. So let's hold that 1 second. So if y'all see me kind of cutting my eye, I'm just making sure the camera hadn't stopped.
Yes, gotcha.
Okay, so don't think I'm like crazy looking or not paying attention. I listen attentively, okay?
So I had an amazing career, an awesome career with Delta Airlines as well.
Okay.
And I just wanted to say that we were in the era where I feel we really helped each other. We realized that we were there for a purpose, and we wanted to keep each and every one of us very professional. And when there was whatever help that was needed, you know, we had Zetas in the world to go to, and it was very, very important because they had standards. And we had no problems in listening to and wanting to be the standard. We knew we had to shine a little bit brighter, and we did that.
Exactly.
So
even in training.
Yes, and that's support without request. That's meaning that I can recognize a professional, and I support a professional. I respect a professional, and we don't have to have a long conversation about that because I see you. Right. Right? And I'm going to hold you accountable because I'm with you. I got you. But I'm going to hold you accountable, so don't come in here. That's right. If you wiggle, I'm going to support you up because we got to keep moving. Right. Right? Exactly. Okay.
Before I started flying, I worked ground position. I took payroll to clients.
You took what?
Payroll.
Like cash money.
Everybody's check, the other basis. Cash money. I took.
Oh, you took the checks? Money, like?
Checks.
Okay. Because you need an escort. So just so you know, like I learned after flying a few times to clean up behind myself. Yes, I did, and I was proud to get my water bottle and other little thingies and put them in my pocket and go, so I wouldn't have left a mess for you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes.
Exactly.
You remember the guy sitting here?
That's the whole house here.
Okay.
But I was never in flight, but I worked with these ladies directly or indirectly. You know, I know all of them by face. You know, once you are around a Del type, you remember them.
Del type.
That face.
Okay, Del type.
Deltoid.
So what is it officially now? Because folks need to know.
Deltoid.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. But before starting at Delta, I was a little older because before then, when I got out of college, I worked for the Fulton County Juvenile Court.
Okay.
Left there, and I was the first assistant manager at Woolworth, F.W. Woolworth.
Wow.
I was there when they
well, he's smooth.
When they built the Peachtree Plaza. I remember when they went out at the Wool Cove and that kind of stuff. So when I got an interview with Delta, I was working with Wool Cove out on Stewart Avenue, which is now Metropolitan Boulevard.
Okay.
I was assistant manager out there, and they called me to Delta, so I was going to do 2 weeks notice. And my brother-in-law at the time was working for Eastern, and he told me, look, seniority is everything with the airline, everything. He said, do you plan on going back to work call? I said, no. You need to go, because you can wait a week or a day, and there might be 200 or 300 people in front of you as far as seniority.
Oh,
so
wow.
you got to go there. So that was words of wisdom. So I went to my manager and told him, he said, I don't blame you. If they call me, I'd leave too. You know? So once I got there, I enjoyed it. And like the lady said, it taught you how to customer service. I mean, if you can work at Delta, so they instill that in us as far as good customer service. And when we go out to other places where we, you know, are looking at people that are waiting on us, we look for those kind of things.
Correct.
So
those traits that show they care.
They got it in us. I mean, and we do. And it's not a bad thing. You know, it's a good thing. We know what good customer service is. And, you know, I expect that when I go out, you know, I've had to say, man, I help you a million times and a lot of other things to, you know, I like I'm spending my good hard money, so there's a need for you to carry on over me. You know? Like I used to carry on over people, you know. And it takes a different person. Like I say, when I read those days, you know, it takes a different person to tell a full LTD level with almost 300 people on it that their plane has been canceled. And there's nothing for us to put you on until tomorrow. Woo. You gotta go out tomorrow. Like the little girl on Annie, you gotta go out tomorrow. Some of those folks were going to Miami when they were getting on the ship. Ship don't wait.
No, they go.
They go. They leave. They go. So after retiring from Delta, I went to work for. I was a certified TWIG instructor.
Okay.
And
she giggles. She said, keep.
I did that for 15 years. You know. Then COVID, I said, no, I can't do that anymore.
So what did you do with the DUI? Is that folks getting your license back, or what is that?
Yeah, but if you get a DUI, you got to go to a DUI class.
Okay.
Unless you've got money. If you don't go to the DUI class, if you got a good lawyer, and they can get you out there for that.
Okay.
That's another story. But I did that for 15 years, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and I got a lot out of it. But
what you doing now?
Nothing.
So let me ask this question, because we're coming to you. We're going to come to you too. Right? And then everybody. What has having a career done for your life and the people that you brought into this world?
It has given me independence, the ability to travel to places I've never been and that they've never been. So that's actually what it has done for me. And of course, it has also shown me how to live life and to know what core values are, you know, and to let them know that resilience, these are things that they need in life. Resilience, they need to be honest, integrity, perseverance, and be servant leaders. Delta has taught me all of this.
Okay.
So, and this I have instilled in my kids and my grandkids. So it's taught me a lot.
Okay. Is your bill?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're listening. You're listening.
No, it's so true, and it does. It teaches me to customer service, you know, because we had to know how to talk and speak to individuals. We talk to people, speak to them the way that we want them to respond back to us.
Correct.
You know, and that's the value, knowing how to, to speak. And then I try to teach my children too. You know, when you address somebody, you know, you're not looking to the right, and if they're standing to the left, you know, you have to have that eye-to-eye contact. So, you know, that has taught me a lot.
being dependable. You know, I'm teaching the kids that you have to be dependable because you can go anywhere in life. When you fill out that resume, they want to know that you're dependable.
Right.
You're responsible. Yeah, you are a responsible individual. You're going to come to work. You're going to show up. You're going to do your job. Right, and whatever you're going to do, you're going to be excellent at it. Not half-stepping, but you're going to be you're going to give your 100%. You know, and if it's something that you don't understand, it doesn't hurt to ask a question because we don't know everything.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? Ask the question. If you don't know it, ask it. So, you know, I try to instill that into my children, and also I need to be reminded myself. You know, it applies to me too. Yeah. So, okay.
So I'm coming to you, but I'm going to make this statement first, right? Most jobs, we volunteer to work. So why not do the best for what you volunteer to do?
Exactly. That makes sense.
What has a career done for you and your family?
Oh, goodness. I am second generation college.
Okay.
Okay. My father, Morehouse. Okay. And then UGA for me. But I think overall, having the experience of having worked in corporate America,
Okay.
and to understand where we were at the time,
Okay.
coming up through corporate America.
What do you mean? Where you were as in the time, like the decade?
The decade.
Okay, what decade do you want us to reflect to?
The 70s.
Okay,
the 70s and 80s. We were just, well, I was just coming out of school.
Okay.
And we I think as African Americans are really starting to get into a very solid work ethic and place.
And the reason, I'm not going to interrupt you, but the reason for that is because it was sharecropping, was the black wage.
Yes, yes.
On somebody else's farm and you got pennies.
Right.
My dad grew up picking cotton. Like, you know, everybody had a unique experience, but that experience helped us realize, us and anyone else, that, hey, hard work is going to get you there. And one thing that my grandmother said, I'm going to give it back to you. She said, son, she told this to my dad, and my dad told me this in one of the interviews that we did, our conversation. She said, son, if you don't have anything else, you can work. And then that'll help you get through what you need to do. Work.
So, excuse me, with that, working with Coca-Cola and being in a corporate environment, like you guys, I learned a lot about customer service and how you talk to people. I remember so many times of going to, you know that there's a Coca-Cola machine everywhere in this world.
I need some money back.
Except when it's Super Bowl. In Atlanta, they cover all the machines.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Because Pepsi has a contract.
Oh, okay.
I went to Georgia World Conference Center. I asked the question, Coca-Cola does not have a contract? They cover all machines, all over the state.
Oh, wow. That's interesting to know. Well, in my experience at the time, I didn't know that. But being able to travel to the different Coca-Cola locations and representing the training department of corporate Coca-Cola, I a lot of times was met with, you know, the look that we get.
Yes.
But being able, knowing how to and being able to communicate with those folks, present myself professionally, and then do the work professionally, and get the required outcome that they wanted, taught me a lot. And actually being married to another professional who knew how to talk to people and everything.
That helps.
Really,
You get to practice at home.
Yes, yes.
Right? You get to practice at home and held accountable at home.
Yes.
So I'm glad you said that. So, Mr. Career, Mrs. Career, how did you allow each other's individual business journey, life journey, to strengthen your relationship, but also give the leeway to say, go get it. Go get it. I support you. Go get it. What did you guys, was it just natural, or sometimes you gotta work at that and get used to working at it and do something? What was you guys' experience?
Yeah, well, wife and everybody happy, I was happy.
You were happy.
But then, right, we were, understood each other. We didn't have any kind of problem with each other, anybody's goals and aspirations. So it was,
we just
we were
supported.
simply
It was just there. It was just a thing.
Yeah, it was, that's the way we were. I guess it came from our upbringing, old school, as they call it. Still old school.
Well, one of the things I say, well, one of the things I say, right, and I did this thing when I talk to some folks, I say, usually when you support someone, you smile. When you have to sacrifice someone, it's a smile. It's a frown, really. You sacrifice with a frown if you're doing it for somebody else. Because we should always sacrifice for ourselves. Think about that. You have to listen. That's that silent thing. You have to listen. If you sacrifice for yourself, you can help others. Because you're making sure that you are maintaining or obtaining a standard that someone can use. Right? And then because if we call ourselves sacrificing for other folks, do they really want that sacrifice to uphold them to a standard? Or they just want some support? Right? So I say that because it's important. You just said, hey, I just supported and just did what it took. Because you have an individual goal, like you said. Everybody has an individual goal, and when you can see that if you're partnering up with somebody, be it marriage or however, if you say, hey, I'm not going to get in your way, I'm going to support you. That's important, because I don't think, if you're married here, I don't think you could have had as long of a career you've had if you hadn't been supported. And one of the things that support does, if you're getting it, you make sure you can receive it. I make sure you can support me. I'm not going to put any barriers up in your way to support me. I'm going to make sure you keep smiling. When it's time to support me, you smile.
It goes back to a form of insecurity too. If you're secure in yourself, then you want your partner, your loved one, to succeed. It's something you should do this.
Right.
No role,
Yeah.
I'm watching it. What's up with that, I ate out of that dish. Why shouldn't I wash it? I used that toilet, so why shouldn't I clean that toilet?
But that's helping whoever supporting you.
Right, it's not a woman's job or a man's job. So if you're secure in yourself, you don't have any kind of problem with that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You had something to
I was going to say just a little bit of history for us.
Okay.
Tonight, we celebrate a year and a half of going through open heart surgery, stroke, 4 different operations for heart, and tonight was our coming out night.
Yes. I didn't think I was going to be here, y'all. I really didn't.
And he had said to me,
"You're Superman."
He said to me all the time, he says, why are you doing all of this? Why? You just shouldn't have to do it. I said, baby, this is a partnership.
Exactly.
A partnership. It's not about what I should be doing, what you should be doing. We came into this together.
Right.
Under equal agreement.
Yes.
And whether you make it, or you don't make it, or I make it, or I don't make it, we are here for each other. And I'm going to pick up the slack when you are down, and you will pick up the slack for me. There's no determination of who does what or anything. Now, the man got on my nerves. That can be on a regular basis. But
Absolutely.
I was going to be there to support.
Yes.
And you
That's
talk
right.
about
How long
ancestry.
ago were you there?
33.
33 years.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
But you talk about ancestry and everything. We had parents who showed us what partnership and love was.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you talked about supporting each other
Correct.
and all of that, it was easy.
Yeah, it's easy.
Because we had
Think about it.
examples, you know. Now, not that all of them were good or
Yeah.
anything, but we could
100%.
glean from, you know, what we saw.
Mhm.
And
So let me say this.
yeah, thanks.
I'm gonna say this to you, and that's why. So you two just made my point where we should write our own Bibles in our family.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Now, if you're not doing it, you need to really consider it, because if not, you're doing all this hard work for nothing.
And nobody sees it.
It's going to be forgotten.
Mhm.
Yes.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you, we all users. How often do you swipe sometimes? How long you watch that video for a second? No. Oh, hey, keep. Right? So I would say that to you. That's my call to action for you. Okay, now we're going to go to you. What has having a career done for you in transition to your life, or catapulted your life into, man, I'm comfortable? And the people around me, hey, y'all got a little better than you might have had.
Well, since I left Delta, I do a lot of things.
It's
But when I
multiple.
was flying, some of the things I do now,
Mhm.
I would, I'm like,
Yeah.
but it makes me feel great.
Okay.
That I can multitask and do this. It's not beyond me. I have a friend, her daughter got killed. She works at Georgia Tech. She does a lot of jobs.
Okay.
She don't need the money. But it's just, it's,
Her mindset, it keeps it balanced out to where, boy, if I sit down and let these voices in my head talk to me, I'm not going to be feeling too good. And I'm going to get in a rut. And if we stay busy, that helps.
and that's why I try to talk to some of the younger kids. 20, 19, 25. How you doing, Pam? Oh, Miss J, I'm so tired. I said, a lot of you young kids do that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That is a negative.
Yeah.
You might be tired, but just keep Jesus. You never hear me say that. You never hear older people say that. But the young people say that all the time.
Speaking into existence.
I'm tired. That is a negative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just present yourself as positive. Then I worked a corporate conference from DC. A lot of people here from DC, White House. And this man told me, he said, I said, I try to talk to these young kids. He says, keep talking to them. Because you might talk to 10, but one will listen.
Correct. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Keep talking, he said, keep talking to them. And I also tell them, I said, even at Delta Airlines, I said, if a pastor comes up and asks you a question, you don't know the answer. Do not tell them you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't know, but tell them, hold on, let me see if I can find out. A lot of times they'll walk away,
Mm-hmm.
but at least you didn't lie to them.
Correct. Just tell them
Just
something.
take
to
it
get
off you and say, let me find out.
Right.
Well, that says a lot about customer service, though.
Mhm.
Is because a person who doesn't value their professionalism or a high standard, they'll just do or say anything to you. Or treat you any kind of way. See, that's the pride within you to maintain a standard you set for yourself. Because no one can set the standard that we abide by but us.
Absolutely.
Right? So we're going to go to you. What has having a career done for you in your life? Because see, and the reason I ask that question this way is because think about growing up. You know, you're playing with bugs and grass in the yard, getting dirty, jumping in the mud, right? You never even thought about a career. And you were in your family, and you seen the dynamics of your family and the family around you, extended family and people. And then you started going down your path of education or employment. Now, it's a threshold where we don't even know what we can become, and then we become it. And then things change. That's why I asked that question.
Well, the dynamics in my family and the standards set. I grew up on family homes, funeral homes, and my dad always said, and I didn't understand it until, of course, I got older. He would take the 4 of us kids and the 4 of us. I need you kids to be able to sit at the White House in the middle, bottom, and the ghetto. I need you to know how to hit every area. And for a long time, I didn't really understand that. But that really meant dealing with every level and learning how to deal with every level of what we had to deal with. And of course, education was very big in my family. But it was really, and I looked at my dad because it was true. He could be, he was with NAACP and all this stuff, but yet he would bring the homeless home, fix him some breakfast, fix him, and it was, and that's just how he was. And so you learn all people are people. And you have to be able to be a very diverse person. You really have to be able to deal with every aspect. And of course, he had one daughter, and my husband as well was in corporate. He was with American Express. And that's kind of how we, because that's all we knew. But I told her the same thing that my father told me. And she's actually a nurse. She's a nurse informatics. And when she graduated, she had all these offers to go to Piedmont and Emory and all that. She chose Grady. And of course, my husband and I were like, so she informed us.
You jumped in.
Mom, you got Grady on your resume? You can go in.
Yeah,
that's it. So of course, she's done it all.
I helped raise Austin.
Yes.
So
she's and I noticed how same thing. She deals with all levels, and it's very, very important. And just knowing how to, like you said, communicate with people and be able to, let people know that they are respected.
Yeah, 100%.
And so yes, it has done a lot for my family as far as my husband and American Express and Delta Airlines, the professionalism and the standard. You have to know your individual value, and I think that when you carry that, you can go anywhere.
I say this to everyone, that individual value, being able to operate in any situation. Why is it important? Because those we help don't have a class level. They just need help.
Exactly.
Help has no class to it. It has no level, no worth to it. It's like this person needs help with this thing. And within us all, we have to have a give back. What is our give back? And part of it is understanding what we've gone through and the tireless work we've done to be in a situation to advise. Right? That's important. Being able to advise. And so I thank each one of you for the give back. Last but not least. Right?
Well,
because, hold on now.
Okay.
The cool part about going first is you don't know the rules yet.
Right.
Until everybody do, you're like, everybody got it with me. Now let me give an alibi. Now we're going to say, how has having a career, and you had options, right? You had a fallback, so they gave you a little swag when somebody said, hey, come work for me. Like, what? Why? Yeah. Hold on, make me smile. So, how has your career helped you and your family and your situation be what it is?
Well, actually, my career has helped me because first it developed me and helped me to be able to multitask and do a number of things, but still put as my dad used to always say, you live your life at the fullest, but you put your best foot forward always, okay? And then my parents always taught me, you treat someone else the way you yourself wants to be treated. Correct. So I always inspired with that. So that helped me in a lot of my career, so that's why I always put my heart into my jobs. And I'll never forget when I first called my dad and was telling him that I was leaving my nursing career, I was going to Delta. He said, you doing what? I spent all that money sending you to college and you will change? And I said, yeah, Dad. I said, I'm going to try it. I said, I'm going to do it for 2 years, then I'm going back. And he was like, okay. Well, of course, needless to say, after the first year and a half, and My dad started traveling, and he used to like go to Vegas and stuff. He took his first flight privileges. All of a sudden,
Oh yeah, you
was
wouldn't
okay.
Hey, you wouldn't take.
Yeah, he supported me. He was like that. You make sure you do your best. But the interesting thing I found about it, I was able to tie in both careers with that one job, because a lot of times on the airplane, I did not realize how my nursing skills came into play and was able to help others on the plane. I'll never forget, I had this couple once, they were traveling from LA, and it was 2 couples and their mother. And I noticed something was wrong with the lady, their mother, and she just kept looking funny and weird and all disoriented. Later, her color starts to change. Then all of a sudden, when the lips started turning dark, almost purple, I kept asking them, "Is your mother okay?" And they said, "Yes, she's fine." I said, "No." And I kept, "You sure?" So I went and talked to the captain, and I explained to him, I said, "I'm sorry, we have a passenger in the back. She's not looking well, and her color's changing." And I said, "She needs oxygen." And he said, "If you think she needs oxygen, you give it to her." He sent the co-pilot back with me. So we went back, and I explained again, because the family was with her, didn't want me to do anything.
Wow.
So the co-pilot went with me. Sure enough, we gave her the oxygen. All of a sudden, the lady came back to her color change. She was all together alert again. She told me, "Thank you." She said, "I could hear you asking the question, but I couldn't say anything." So she came back around. She was disoriented. She finally later went to the bathroom, and they got her together. But we had to have the paramedics to meet the flight. Well, they were on their way to stop in Atlanta to go on a cruise. And I don't know if they didn't want to interrupt, but the paramedics had to meet the flight because the lady was sick. And rushed her to the hospital. But to this day, she thanked me. Later, sometime I got my name. And she said a thank you to Delta Airlines for saving her life. Because a lot of times on the airplane, you know, if you have medical emergencies, then sometimes you have to know what to do. And my career with the nursing helped with that while I was flying. And it also helped with a lot of my friends and co-workers, you know, as boys, helping them. And to this day, they would call and say, "I got a doctor's appointment. Can you go with me?"
That's right. Subject matter expert.
Exactly. And it's like Penny and Jade all know as well. My friend Jackie, you know, she was working with us at Delta as well. And I used to go to her treatments with her. Do you know I was with her when she took her last breath?
Oh, wow.
A lot of my friends, I have been able to provide that skills with her because her husband said, "I can't do this, you go with her." And sure enough, when they took the oxygen off her, she took her last breath.
Wow.
You know. And my husband, of course, he traveled a lot too because he's traveled all around the country too. So we lived in different places, and they were sending him. We were in Austin, Texas for 15 years because he was a director and vice president for Job Corps. So he helped students. And I used to complain all the time about, "Honey, you always travel, you never home." And that was when I was in the office then stationary. But I went to a conference once in DC, and he had to speak. But this young man came up to me and he said, a little fellow, he said, "Ms. Hall, thank you for sharing your husband with us." He said, "He has made an impact on my life. He's the father figure I never had." He said, "He turned my life around." He said, "Now I am here." He said, "Ava at the Capitol speaking." He said, "Because of your husband." He said, "You see, I wear a tie just like he wears." And so one Sunday I had introduced him in church. And I used that as an example, and I said, I had to stop complaining. I said, because he was giving back and influencing young people in the world too. So as a couple, we were able to do that. He got sick in Texas once. And sure enough, they called me and I said, "Babe, no, catch the flight, come home." They let him talk me into going into the surgery, and I'll never forget, Delta, they had the van to drive me home to get my bag, to pack me to send me to Austin. Because I said, "I gotta get there, my husband is sick," and they took him to surgery. By the time I got there, of course, he was in recovery then. So I walk in and the director picked me up, one of his employees, got me to the hospital just in time. I walk in recovery, he's sitting there, can't hardly breathe, and he's panting. And he was shivering, and I asked the nurse, I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "He's just cold." I said, "Ma'am, you have a heat pump under the cover, he's not cold." So then I looked at the charts and vital signs. His vital signs were dropping, his O2 level was low, and he was barely breathing, but they didn't notice. I said, "Please get the doctor in here now in the surgery." She called them, they looked, they examined, they rushed him, they said, "Oh ma'am, we're so sorry. His O2 levels dropped. He aspirated some fluid in surgery. His lungs is 80% full. He was drowning." They said he only had 20% breathing capacity left. So they suctioned him out, rushed him to intensive care. He had intubated and tube in him. And then the surgeon came out and said, thank you, you're right. Your husband wouldn't have made it through the night. But God put me there on time. Just to make sure that it happened. He stayed in intensive care for 2 weeks.
Wow.
You know, but he finally recovered and came back to his full, you know, research. But then his surgeon, I'm sure they was afraid, oh, she's gonna mess up. I had connections with Atlanta with the doctors there. So when we was coming back home, I called my friends and they said, bring us the medical records. So therefore they were able to treat him when we got back home, because we always had a home in Atlanta. But it's just that both my careers, because Delta blessed me to be able to get that quick, you know, and then my nursing skills helped me with identify what was going on. And actually, I've helped several of my friends through medical crisis because of my nursing career, because I continued both while I was flying, and I also kept my skills and my license up and everything. And then when I retired, of course, I went back a little bit nursing part-time for a while.
Well, you know,
it was interesting.
So I'm gonna say this. So you covered a lot right there, but those points you talked about goes right into customer service.
Yes.
Each one of them does. Like if you're not dedicated to the services you provide, you don't even see things.
You don't see it.
It's not obvious, right?
Yeah.
And that's what careers do. Especially if you're maintaining one, it makes you observant. As each one of you have discussed and talked about, how you observe the things around you and your passion to give to those organizations. That's important. And I say just keep it up. Now what we're going to do now, and we have time, what we're going to do now is we get to tell the world your own quote. Your go. Your own quote.
Do the best that you can do. That's all you can do.
There you go. I'm gonna come back to you. There you go.
Well, it's not it's a quote that I've heard.
Okay.
It's, treat people the way that you want to be treated.
Exactly. That's my favorite.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
Live your life to the fullest.
I know you're gonna say it. What you gonna say?
Know your value.
Know your value. Okay.
And of course, they go far. It's been said already, and that's quote I quote from my dad: "Live your life to the fullest and treat others as you yourself want to be treated."
Okay.
Always be thankful.
Always be thankful.
Yes, that's great.
Last but not least,
You all have hit everything that I'm thinking about. Be true to yourself.
Exactly.
be true to yourself.
Absolutely.
Be true to yourself, and no matter what.
No matter what.
And one more thing.
Go ahead.
And always remember, we don't live on this earth ourselves. None of us are permitted anything. And always, if you can't help somebody,
Help somebody.
Help somebody.
Right. It's not about you.
it doesn't matter how big, how small, just help somebody.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
My mother passed a couple of years ago. She was 94. And she always sang this song at church. If I can help somebody as I pass along,
Oh
shall not
yes.
live and shall not be in
Right.
vain.
Right.
And helping somebody comes in all types of forms. It can be giving folks
Yes.
money, or it can be something like giving a person encouragement. A lot of times, that's all they need. They need some encouragement to say, you're doing good, you know. I remember this young man that was, I was in Walmart one time. It was on a Sunday, and this little boy, he was in line with his mother. He had on a coat and tie, and you can tell he was just real fidgety because he did not want to wear what he
I want to play in the dirt.
And I was standing behind him. I said, man, you look good. But that's a sharp coat and tie you got, you know. And he kind of looked up at his mother like, why is this man talking to me? and his mother looked at me like she wanted to hug my neck. Thank God he said an A, because I had to do everything I could to get him on. Encourage somebody, you know, do something.
Yes.
Say thank you, say please. You don't know what it takes. You don't know how far someone is to the edge. And a lot of times just this little stuff can pull them back.
Well,
If I can help somebody.
I tell people, especially non-rails, if they go into the gate area, or paid passengers, if the gate agent's having a bad day, and you're having a bad day, you ain't gonna fly. You gotta go to the gate agent and say, oh, I love your earrings. That's a pretty ring you have on. Something.
You prep it. You prep it.
Yes.
In a nice way.
You know, and because if you give a gate agent a hard time, they gonna give you a hard time in a nice little way. But just say something nice.
Yeah,
you know,
it's not. It's free.
You could say your cologne smells good. You might not have on any.
Right.
Just say something. I mean, even going to a fast food restaurant, some of the young kids, they, you know, their demeanor, their posture is terrible, and they're like, "Oh, you having a bad day? Oh, come on, it's not that bad." You know, and then they'll change their demeanor a little bit.
Sometimes you help yourself by saying good things. Like,
Yes,
I'm
you did.
crappy today.
Exactly.
Let me recognize something around me and give it appreciation.
Right.
I remember he used to come home some days and say, you know, I'm done with Delta.
Whoa.
We all have
All
those
of
days.
that.
Everybody
I never
likes
had those days, but he says, I never can and never will understand how people come to you and want you to help them, but they're so very ugly. You know, they get all in your face and, you know, why isn't my plane leaving? Why is my plane not leaving on time? Is it time for us to go yet? You know, whatever. And he used to tell me all the time, he would tell them, I don't own not one of these Delta planes. Or Delta planes, you know. That's what he wanted to tell me. He didn't tell me that, you know, but still. But again, just being civil.
As a flight attendant and a gate agent and a TSA, they do more to help you. Then they feel like, why are you going to be hurting somebody who can help you?
Why would, right.
That's what some people
Well, I tell people, if you're going to fly, do the early flights before noon. Because people's attitudes change after noon, traffic, or whatever. It starts going down here from 12 o'clock.
Well, one of the things that we have to understand, right, and I'm going to say, I don't make a lot of statements, right, but some things I'm passionate about. Listen. And usually people who are unfriendly talk way too much.
Yeah.
And they never slow down to listen and observe and hear their surroundings, because if they did, they would see, you know what, this situation calls for me to be humbled. This situation calls for me to be appreciative. And if it can't happen the way I want, it wasn't meant to.
Right.
So I will embrace what's happening to me now. So hey, first thing I want to say this, and I got a hot second, is that, what did you think this interview was going to be about? Because most of you are like, hey man, what's going on?
Everybody has a big question. We listen to Jay.
Patterson said, go find some people.
And he was like, Lee, I'm sitting them. But that's what I do, right? So, and that's my entire organization, is that constructive listening, give folks their voice, and let them inspire just by their experience and their stories of life. Because that's important.
TED Talk. You a TED Talk.
Am I? If you don't know somebody, you're going to have my information. But that's important. And I thank each of you for inspiring me and letting me know the way I did my career and stuff. Guess what? It's a lot of like-minded folks out there that understand that service is more important than anything.
Yes, definitely.
No matter what career field you're in, serve.
Yes.
Right? And appreciate those folks that you encounter. So on that note, I don't have anything. I appreciate you for coming to TWIGtv, Constructive Talks. And if you don't have anything else, thank you.